Everyone, I've still got Jason here and I'm still picking his brain. He's trying to get away, but I can't, I'm not letting him. But we're just going to talk about genomics in a real simple form because I know this is one that makes my head spin.
Yep, mine too.
What the heck?
What the heck? So genomics is interesting, right? So, and it's a really useful tool.
Yes.
And you know, it's evolved quite a bit in even the last 10 years. So genomics and the way we use it at the moment is really to say how good do we know our relationships with each other. And what I mean by that is, so if you have two calves by the same bull, so they're half brothers.
Yes.
In our pedigree, we say they're half brothers, and we calculate that we expect 25% of their genes are the same.
Yes.
And that's how pedigree technologies work since the 80s, or actually way earlier than that.
Yeah.
What genomics does is, in reality, those calves, 25% is an expectation. Those calves might be 15% related to each other in terms of 15% of the actual same genes, or they might be 35% of the same genes. But we're just guessing 25. Well, we know it will be 25% on average.
Yes.
So what genomics lets us do is actually see that, no, these two animals are 35%, and this one over here is only 15%. So we start to tease that difference out in terms of where its genes came from.
So it's a DNA test, and it's testing. This is going to come out silly because I'm guessing here. Testing strands. Is it strands of the DNA to see where?
So this is this is getting to real basic biology now, right? So the DNA strands are made up of all these little things called nucleotides, which are just my biology's pretty bad, right? I'm a geneticist, not a biologist. But you know, it's A's, T's, G's, and C's. So they stand for chemical names. And what the genomics is doing is testing, you know, probably 99% of the time, animals, you know, you and I share probably 99% of the same nucleotides.
Yeah.
But every so often, we'll have a different one.
Yeah.
And that's what makes our genes different. And so what the genomics is we basically can run these tests on our DNA, and we can we use what's called a SNP chip. It's the current technology, and that chip might have 50,000 of those little tests, and it actually has them replicated several times.
Yeah.
So on this little band, which is probably about an inch by about 10 mils, it's mixing my mils and my inches, right? Then that's got 50,000 tests on that, and you know, times 7 or 8 times per test, and it's measuring the spots where we know that some animals are different to others.
Okay.
So that's essentially what it's doing. It's measuring the actual DNA, which is our actual genes, and then we're trying to say, well, okay, how, based on those differences, how related are we? You know, how similar are we? How related are we at the DNA level, not just at how much we expect, but how much actually are we related? Because, you know, like you've got, I don't know, if you're from a big family, you might have 3 or 4 brothers and sisters.
This is my favourite way to explain it, eh?
And some of them you'll be more similar to than others. Yeah. And that might be for different traits too, right? You know, if you just take your height, you might be you might be the same height as 2 of your sisters, and then you might have a sister that's 6'2".
Yeah.
You know, that's probably exaggerating a little bit, but that's the general point, is that, you know, the one that's 6'2", just by chance has got a different set of genes.
Yeah. And so can it pull out the different, like, can it get quite specific as into weight, height? You know, like it pulls out this bit for this, because they go into the EBVs at the end, right?
Yep. Depends how we do that analysis, and that's an ongoing. You know, there's geneticists all around the world working on more sophisticated ways of doing this and all that sort of thing. But you can run tests and say, for this trait, then these are the spots in the genome that are affecting that particular trait. So, you know, these are the ones for weight, and these are the ones for height, and these are the ones for fertility or whatever. But it depends on the technology. So a lot of the technology that we use at the moment is really just still at the level of saying, well, you know, these two animals are 35% related versus these are 25%.
Yeah.
Actually, under the hood, you sort of get the same result anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? And I think probably coming from someone who probably didn't understand EBVs that much, it feels like genomics gives it another layer of accuracy, another layer of...
And that's the point, right?
Yeah.
So by having genomics, we can get genomics on a calf the day it's born if
Yeah.
we want to. We can actually get it before it's born if we really
Yeah.
want to, although that's a little bit trickier. And that helps us with our predictions right from the word go. Before, when we used to use another older approach, we used to talk a little bit more about the accuracy that gives us and the extra progeny equivalence. So, you know, at birth, we would be getting the same thing, you know, same accuracy as if that calf was progeny tested for, you know, for weight traits or something like that, you know, and had 5, 10, 15 calves on the ground with records.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the gain, isn't it?